Hey Glammies! So as the title suggests, today's video is going to be about getting a job at Mac. And I know that a lot of you have asked me either through YouTube or other social media sites, how do you start working for the biggest makeup brand in the world? So I've typed up some things on my laptop. I've kind of put together as much as I can remember of the process. Applying at Mac is probably one of the most nerve-wracking things you're ever gonna do because Mac girls and boys are so intimidating. Like, they all look good, they're perfect, they're beat, like, style on point. You walk in there and you're like, oh my god, do I belong here? Like, that's how I felt, but I knew that I wanted to work there. So here's some things. We're going to jump right into it. I'm going to try to get as much information in this video as possible. Here we go. Alright, the first thing you want to do is get your resume together. Okay, so all of your work experience. What Mac really wants to focus on is how much retail experience do you have? Because, keeping it real, like all businesses, they're here to make money. So although you want to be a makeup artist for Mac, you're really going to be in retail, and that's just the dirty truth to it. Sorry. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, I want to be a makeup artist. Mac offers you incredible training. They have probably the best training in the industry, and so much exposure and recognition with that brand, and a lot of respect for it. So, you know, don't discount it like, oh god, it's gonna be retail. Yeah, it is, but I want to be 100% real with you. It boils down to being a retail environment. You definitely want to put an emphasis on any retail or customer service experience because Mac really wants to bring things back around and have it be recognized as a brand where people are comfortable approaching their artists. The number one complaints they get is that people don't feel comfortable, or they're intimidated, they don't want to go in, or people are rude, or people are mean. And those are some of the misconceptions. Granted, I'd probably say a majority of them are misconceptions, or people going in, you know, already feeling some type of way with the artist that they don't know. But then also, I've been on the other side of things, and I've seen when I was a customer how certain Mac artists have treated me. So I get both sides of it. So definitely customer service experience, big plus. You should also have a portfolio available. If you're a Cosmo student, or if you've been working in the industry for a while, or if you're aspiring, my suggestion to you would be to use your social media outlets. Back in my day before I started, it was MySpace, and it was amazing because people gave you so much constructive criticism that you were actually excited to work and perfect your craft. Nowadays it's a little harder because I feel like people, they're not as open to constructive criticism as they were in social media back in the day. So it's a little harder, but join your Facebook groups, any type of makeup Facebook groups, photography, models, makeup artists, hairstylists. A good way to connect with people in the community if you haven't already done so. So get some work together because you do want to show them what you're capable of. Okay. When you go to drop off your resume, these are a few things you want to keep in mind. I know this for a fact because when I was working at Mac Pro, sometimes the managers would be busy, so they would ask me, you know, go ahead and take that resume, take the checklist, you know, and, you know, just kind of get a rough idea of who the candidate is. So the first thing you want to do, of course, is dress in all black. You want to dress in all professional Mac black. Why? Because they want to see you as a whole. They want to see how you present yourself. You're not going to go in there with your gym clothes or, you know, a colorful flowered, you know, jumper or something on, whatever people wear these days. I don't know. You want that job, you got to dress for it, right? Same as any other job. So all professional Mac black. This is actually something that's on the checklist. There's an actual checklist that managers have to go through. And one of the questions is, was the candidate dressed in all black? So definitely you want to go in all black. Do they smile? That's on there. I know it's everything is hashtag resting bitch face, but when you go into Mac, you want to smile. You want to be friendly. Why? Again, because they're looking to turn that misconception of the brand around. They want people who are outgoing, who are friendly, who are gonna not be afraid to approach people that they don't know. So be friendly, smile, and be in clean makeup. Boys, you don't necessarily have to wear makeup, although you can definitely do some male grooming and polish your look. Girls are required to wear makeup when working at MAC. Boys, they're not required, but a lot of them do wear makeup or participate in theme days. So definitely, if you are able to show off your makeup skills, now is the best time to do it. Clean looks, definitely clean. Don't go in there with 15 different colored eyeshadows. What you really want to showcase is beautiful, clean makeup. Be prepared because they are gonna ask you a few questions. Some of them might be like, hey, I love that lip color, what is it? And if you turn around and you say, oh yeah, this is Anastasia, you know, like, no, boo-boo, no. Like, you're trying to work for MAC, not Lime Crime and ColourPop and, you know, anything else. You want to make sure that you go in there and you have something on your face that's by MAC. And definitely if you get the interview. If you get the interview, for sure you want to know, you know, some names of MAC products. And I understand you may not have an arsenal of MAC, but that's okay. One of the first things you should do before applying is get a little familiar with the products. You know, go in there, make friends with people at the counter. Attend all of their events and their classes. Because a lot of times, you know, when you go to the counter, the artist is going to ask you, hey, you want to come to this launch party, or you want to come to this, you know, event that we're having? They really don't want to use the word event, but you want to come to this party we're having for X, Y, and Z product launch, or this new collection that's coming out? Be like, yeah, of course, oh my God, sign me up. Why? Because they are going to be your best friends. You are going to be the people that they call when they're having those events. You're going to be in a book. I used to keep a log of my clients, and anytime I had events, they would be the first people I call up. And guess what? Those people, when you become a familiar face at MAC, they know who you are. You're the first person that comes to mind. When you step into those doors now and you want a job, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to be like, oh yeah, so-and-so is here all the time. She's so good. Like, she's always open to learning. She knows so much about the product. So you definitely want to build that rapport with your MAC counter. So when you drop off your resume, the person taking your information, your application, and your resume may ask you some other questions like, so what do you know about the brand? Be prepared. These are important questions because they want to know what you know about the company. They want to know, why do you want to work here? So step into an actual company interview or casting call. Your first face-to-face contact with that manager or whoever's taking your resume, you want to make sure that you leave the best impression, because they are going to say on your resume, yes, call back, or we're interested, or it's going to go in the trash. Like, it's really a critical point. Make sure that you know your MAC history. Where was the company started? When was it started? Who started the company? Know some things that not a lot of people know. You know, it was started for professional makeup artists. It started in a kitchen. Like, that's why the old MAC mirrors, I don't know how long you've been a MAC junkie, but the old MAC mirrors before they went to the square mirrors were rounded, and they had like a coiled handle, and it was constructed to look like a little frying pan because that's where they started. So it's like things like that that people don't know. I don't even know if a lot of MAC artists know that. You want to know who owns MAC now. When was it acquired? What are some things that MAC is passionate about? What are MAC's social responsibilities? What's MAC's mantra? I'll give you this one because it's important. It's all ages, all races, all sexes. MAC really celebrates diversity, whether it be through race or gender. So you can be a girl, a boy, you can be gay, straight, transgender. It doesn't matter. You can work at MAC. We love it. We love it all because it welcomes everybody. And I think that's important for a brand that's so big, that's worldwide. You have over 12,000, probably more, MAC employees now. And God, how many stores? I don't know. They're constantly opening new stores. Know about MAC's charity programs. Know about, you know, the Back to MAC program. Know about their AIDS fund. Know about Viva Glam. Some things they asked me when I applied was, so what do you think about fashion? So be prepared to answer some questions really quickly. I didn't know I was going to be asked that. I was put on the spot. I was like, fashion? Fashion plays a huge part in our industry, in makeup, in hair, in any creative industry. Fashion plays a huge part. MAC is involved with a lot of fashion weeks and local productions. I live here in Vegas, and when I was working for Mac Pro in Vegas, we had our hands in everything. Cirque, all types of shows, any type of residencies that came into town, Mac had a hand in. So definitely you want to be sure that you know more about the brand and what they're involved in. And it's not just makeup, you know. Makeup, you look at Mac, they have collections launching all the time. So 4 times a year you're going to go to Update. And what they go through Update is, what are the trends this year? And usually there are about 4, and it's going to completely affect all of the product launches and your looks for that quarter. So definitely make sure that you kind of brush up on that and see, you know, what the focuses are for that particular time of year. When we used to hold casting calls here in Vegas, it was bananas. Like ridiculous, insane, crazy. Be prepared to wait 4 hours. Not 4, I mean for a while. Like, we would have, I don't know how many of you are actually in Vegas or have visited the Mac Pro store in Las Vegas, but it was the #1 pro store in all of the West, and it was the largest. But there was less than 40 pro stores in the entire world, not just the US, in the world when I worked there. So people would come from all over. We had we had customers from all over the world coming through our doors every day. When Mac Pro holds casting calls, the line is out the door and wraps around. Like, no joke, security would have to come and like stanchion things off, would have to make sure that we weren't blocking the entrances to any other stores, because it would literally wrap around to the end of our little circle area where we were located in Caesars. It was crazy, and people would come, and from the minute it started, people would have been lined up. The very last hour, people were there. So it is definitely a long process, so be comfortable and make sure you look the part, because there are hundreds of girls who are going up for these positions against you. All right, you get the call. They're like, hey, you know, we want to see if we can schedule for you to come in to an interview or a casting call. For smaller counters, they may do one-on-one interviews or smaller group interviews. In big cities like Vegas, we used to take up the entire top floor, or the mezzanine floor of Mac Pro. So if you've been to Mac Pro, there's an entire floor upstairs. When I did my interview, I'd say there were probably a dozen or more girls there, maybe 12 to 15. So you're gonna bring a model, and then they're gonna try and trick you. This is what happened to me. They're like, all right, everyone take 1 step over to the left. So now you're matched up with somebody that you've never met before, never seen before. So you may have been practicing for like weeks on this model friend of yours. You're like, oh my God, I have to get the prettiest girl, best skin. You get there, and now you're totally thrown for a loop. Do you know why they do this? It's because they want to see how you interact with someone that you don't know, and also how you're going to apply makeup on someone who you don't know, who you've never seen before, because that's a real life situation at Mac. Every day that you're at work, you're going to encounter somebody who you've never seen before, who's going to want a full face of makeup. So you need to know how to interact and how to apply makeup on people you've never seen before. So be prepared, because they do get tricky with you. They're going to do the makeup interview, but they're also going to do a group interview. They're going to ask questions. You're going to raise your hand. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, me, I want to answer that question. Be honest in your answers, and I'll tell you why. I was in an interview with someone's daughter. So it was a Mac employee that I knew from another location. Her daughter came to apply. So you would think, oh, this girl, like, she came in there, she thought she knew everything. Like, and you were like, dang, like, she's gonna get it. You know, like, she knows everybody, and to, I don't know, nobody, and you know, she knows like the product. She comes in here like she's running shit, you know? No, no, no. Because let me tell you, they had asked a question, and the question went something like, you are working with a customer and your customer's asking you for a recommendation for something, for a concealer or a lipstick, whatever the case was. They put it on and it's not exactly the best fit for them. What do? The employee's daughter said, I'm gonna tell them, you know, yeah, it looks really good, you need to get that. No, and I'll tell you why. Even though this is a retail environment, and yes, your goal is to sell and make money for the company, they don't want you lying to your customers. And why is that important? Because you may sell something to your customer and you may make, this may be $100 product, and you may be like, this is awesome, I sold them $100 worth of product. But if you sell them a product that's not the right product for them, guess what happens? It becomes a return and they're an unhappy customer. So don't do that. Always make sure that your product recommendations are the best fit for your customer. When you're doing your makeup interview, the one thing that I have to stress to you the most is hygiene. Counter hygiene is huge. So you want to take 2 pieces of tissue and lay it down on your little desk area or counter area, whatever they give you. And this is what Matt calls your real estate. This two tissue area is all you're going to work off of, and you're going to be neat. So every time you use something, anything disposable, if it's a wand or whatnot, you're going to throw it away. They give you 30 minutes, and 30 minutes includes getting your products, because they feel like you should be able to do a makeup within 30 minutes. So get products that you can use for multiple uses. Grab products that you're going to be able to get maximum uses out of. This is also important because when you're doing the makeup on your customer, you want to make sure you're constantly talking, because nothing is worse than like that awkward silence where you're just like, you're looking like a silent movie, like you're moving but your mouth isn't, and there's no words and there's silence. So Mac wants to know, how are you going to connect with that customer and also show them how important this product is to your customer. So while you're applying that shadow, you're like, okay, so I got this Pro Longwear shadow for you because, oh, back up. So you want to investigate that. They might give you like a scenario. Okay, this is your customer. She's, you know, a businesswoman. She doesn't have a lot of time. She just stopped in. She wants, you know, to learn how to do a quick makeup from daytime to evening. Okay, so, okay, because, you know, your makeup's gonna need to last all day, because yada yada yada, whatever the case is, you always want to say, because this is what you told me, this is the product recommendation. Okay, so keep that in mind. Because you told me that you don't like a heavy foundation, I chose Face and Body for you because it's light and it's water-based. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're making that connection with the products and the customer. Also, make sure your model has a mirror, because what you want to do is you want to be like, hey, take a look at that. Okay, so that's another big thing. When you get hired at Mac, it's going to be show and teach. They want you to show, teach. They want the customer to do it. So make sure that you're, you know, being very interactive with that customer. You want to talk about trends. If you know of any, speak on them. And also hygiene, real quick. So you know, any dry powdered product, bacteria cannot live on. So you're just going to take a tissue and wipe clean. So powders, eyeshadows, etc., just wipe the top and you're good. Lipsticks, on the other hand, lipsticks and pencils do need to be cleaned and sterilized. So Mac now has a hygienic spray. So you're going to spray the product, wipe it completely dry before you use it on your customer. And I always like to wipe it again before I put it back. If you're using any paint pots or gel liners, anything that's a gel where you have to dip into, make sure that you use that disposable spatula, scoop the product out and use it off of the spatula and your palette if you have one. Never double dip. Don't do it. Do not do it. It's disgusting. It's nasty. You will not get work. Lip glosses, mascaras. When you go to most MAC counters, the tips of their lip glosses and their wands are all going to be cut. For, again, hygienic reasons, you want to get a disposable lip brush, dip once, use it on your customer, throw it away. Never double dip. Same goes for mascara or anything that has a wand. Always, if it has a wand, you need a disposable wand. Always sanitize your hands. Sanitize your hands before you start working on the customer, and make sure your brushes are clean, because they're gonna say, hey, when you come to the interview, bring your model and bring clean brushes. Bring like your little canister, bring your brush belt, but make sure that they're nice and clean, because nobody likes dirty brushes. Okay, so fast forward, you went through the makeup interview, you got the call, you did a one-on-one interview, whatever the case is, you did 2 interviews or so, and you got the job. So they call you to offer you the position. Yay! Congratulations. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the difference between a MAC store, MAC counters, pro stores, etc. Okay, so a counter is what we refer to as a partnered location. Partnered locations are any makeup counters that are in department stores such as Macy's, Dillard's, Nordstrom. Nordstrom actually has a very special relationship with MAC because Nordstrom was the first retailer in the US to bring MAC into the US from Canada. So if you notice, if you're a Nordstrom shopper, sometime around holidays and also anniversary sale, MAC carries something at Nordstrom that is not available at any other MAC stores or partnered locations. So that's that special relationship MAC does have with Nordstrom. Next are freestanding stores. So that's any store that's just a freestanding MAC store. So you'll get those in a lot of malls. Now the difference between that and a pro store, they carry the entire range of MAC product. Anything MAC sells on MAC's website or MAC Pro's website is available in a pro store. So this is where you will purchase things such as your chroma cakes, your acrylic paints, your airbrush guns. They will have the senior artists do pro classes or classes to the public, but definitely a special type of store. When I was working at Pro, when I would hold teaching classes and technique classes, I would actually have customers driving all the way from California and Arizona, and it was such a cool feeling because these are people that I would connect with through social media, and then they'd show up in store, they'd be like, oh my god, you know. So cool. Now we're gonna go through the difference on positions. So there's freelance or on call, there's part-time, and there's full-time. Most people will be offered a freelance position. This is at a lower pay rate. You are not considered a MAC employee. Benefits to being a freelancer is you can make your own hours, and when they call you to offer you hours, you can either accept or decline those hours. Now, if you decline too much, they may not call you, but you do have that option of kind of customizing your own schedule, which MAC employees do not. So that is one of the pros. You do get to work at different counter locations, maybe even at freestanding stores or pro stores if they are shorthanded. So that is one of the pros to being a freelancer, is you get to work at different locations and get to know different artists and managers. Definitely a good place to start if you want to grow with a brand, because you are meeting so many different people. The con to that is, again, it is a lower pay. Because you're not an employee, you do not get gratis, which is free product. You do not get EMS, and you do not get a staff discount. So boo to that, but I mean, there are some definite perks to being freelance. The next 2 positions are part-time and full-time. More than likely, you will not get a full-time off the jump. People have worked with MAC for years trying to get a full-time position. So don't expect to get a full-time position because, honey, you gotta pay your dues, all right? There's people waiting in line for that position. So more than likely, you won't get that full-time position. Part-time is any position that's less than 30 hours. You do get paid vacation, you do get staff discount, you do get $200 worth of EMS twice a year, and it is retail amount, unfortunately. So $200. We've all been to a Mac counter, girl. We know $200 don't want to get you shit, but it's nice. It's free, you know, so you can't really complain. Full time is 30 plus hours a week. Again, paid vacation. You do get your gratis. You do get $400 worth of EMS twice a year, and you also are eligible for benefits now. So that's great for people with families. If you want to be able to provide your family with medical and dental and vision, they do have great plans. The cons to working at Mac, either part-time or full-time, is again, you really don't get that flexibility in your schedule. You say goodbye to weekends off, girl, because that ain't gonna happen. Especially working here in this. You also cannot back to Mac when you are a Mac employee. So that's one of the cons to that, is that you're probably gonna have to give those empties away to someone who can use them, because you're not eligible for back to Mac once you're a Mac employee. But you do get a really generous staff discount of 60%, so that kind of makes up for it all. So, and when you're working for Mac, you're, again, you know, we discussed, it is a retail job, so you are going to have to meet productivity goals, you know, but you have things to work for, product specialists positions, impact team, dream team. So those are all things to look forward to. So I hope that you found this video informative and that it helps you on your journey to become a Mac artist. If you go on your interview, you have questions, let me know. If you get the job, if you got the interview, let me know, because I'd love to find out how the process went for you guys. Again, any questions, leave them down below, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for watching.